Three games of hoops on a Thursday night. Memphis OKC turns into a great game. LA Denver turns into a complete dud, and New York Detroit continues to be a rock fight. My name is Shlomo Stark,
My name is Levi Jacob.
and this is the NBA Daily Recap in 15 minutes or less. Levi,
What's going on?
I did not see this coming, but game of the day was OKC Memphis. OKC wins 114 to 108. I watched this game. I still can't believe what ended up happening. I want to give you a little bit of credit because you kind of predicted it. You were like, I feel like Memphis is going to come out strong. And you kind of seemed afraid to say you think they would win, but it kind of seemed like you thought they might win. That
Yeah,
was the
I thought
vibe I was getting.
this is the
You,
closest chance that they were gonna have for sure.
yeah. And so they come off to a very strong start. They're up 29 points, and Ja Morant gets hurt.
By the way,
And then
the strong start was also, by the way, very much thanks to a guy who was usually coming out as their sixth man with Scottie Pippen Jr. was nailing threes left and right. He was playing awesome to start off this game.
he killed it. He was really, really good. And Ja gets hurt. And I think the OKC goes on a 32 to 8 run.
I think it's something like that. I think you're right.
And then and then it was a rock fight, like just trading buckets towards the end. But if you're trading buckets with OKC, chances are OKC is gonna win, which is what happened. Alex Caruso played phenomenal defense. Like phenomenal. Were you watching the game or no?
Yeah, yeah.
Phenomenal defense. The reason I didn't know you were watching is because I texted you right after how did that happen and you never responded. Anyway, SGA was not playing well during the Memphis run. He ended up getting his. He finished with 31 points. But this was just a huge, huge blow for Memphis. Game three is giant when the home team won 2-0 and you're trying to get home court advantage. The difference between 2-1 and 3-0 is the entire series.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's over now. Like I predicted a sweep. I still think it will be a sweep. Maybe Memphis can steal one at home. I want to give him credit for fighting and not after the last two games of domination saying 1-2-3 Cancun. But this is OKC's, like they just won
Yeah.
the series.
I think very simply, it's a problem that that kind of always comes to pass in regards to Memphis, meaning in the last few years. Um, it's like the thing when the Warriors had all those, had their version of the Cancun, not Cancun, Hamptons Five or whatever, and then they had no bench, and everyone was like, oh, but when you have a star player who's just naturally physically, is more prone to get injured and then he's going out there and playing to the max of how he can play, right? Like John Morant loves to be in the sky. He loves it. He doesn't land well. And that's exactly what happened now. And I think that if John Morant is back for game four, maybe that gives them a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. But I don't know if I don't think that they can win that game. I think that OKC has now also solidified in their mind that being down even big in a game against the Grizzlies doesn't scare them. They're just they're great, and they also something that's very interesting to note is that you usually see teams like implement different defensive schemes kind of in the playoffs. This was the first game all season that you had Caruso and Lou Dort out on the court at the same time. Two premier perimeter players on defense in the NBA, and they look great. They look really, really great. So it's this OKC team is they're the real deal. They're really, really great.
That they are. Next. Knicks beat the Pistons 118 to 116. This was the Knicks' best game of the three. I watched this game. I was up at 2 in the morning and I did not miss a minute. Uh the last I would say 5, 6 minutes of the game were an embarrassment to the sport of basketball. And I'm ashamed that I'm a fan of this team who just like took like a 15-point lead and was just like, "Here, Pistons, make all the fans nervous. Go ahead, make it three. No, go no, no, another three, another three. Go, 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 go." So that was annoying. Karl Anthony Towns came out aggressive, aggressive. He did not like people talking about how he didn't take a shot in the fourth quarter and was quiet in game two, and he came out awesome. Jalen Brunson, it felt like didn't play well until it was just the fourth quarter and he had 30 points. And I'm
Well,
like, how?
he is the clutch player of the year, you know.
He is the clutch player of the year. They kept saying that over and over in the broadcast. They're like every time he scored within the 5 minutes, he was like, "That is clutch." Like so, like classic. Like Reggie Miller was like, "This is playoff basketball clutch." Anyway, Josh Hart was all over the place. He was fantastic. Bridges, this was the best Bridges game.
By far.
And it was the yeah, it was a great game except for the last 5 minutes or so. Uh, Tim Hardaway Jr. was unbelievable, really, really, really unbelievable. Um, and and randomly for the Pistons, I want to give Duren props. Like they had this pick and roll that they did the entire, I don't remember if it was the second or third quarter, but they were doing it every single time, and the Knicks just couldn't stop it. Was Cade would bring up the ball, they'd set a pick, and then two guys would go after Cade, and Cade would pass it to Duren, and Duren would like lay up, dunk, pass to Hardaway Jr., layup. Like
Whatever,
it
right?
worked every time, and it was very frustrating. Knicks come with a W. They really needed this. It would be really bad if the Pistons were up 2-1. Um, they play a matinee on Sunday, and I'm hoping we can go up 3-1 and all but seal the series.
Um, the it was really funny to see actually how many Knicks fans were still in Detroit, despite their best efforts of trying to, not to let them come. That being said, the crowd was rowdy, dude. They
It
were
was a good
like,
crowd.
it was a great crowd. There's a lot of like you said, the last, you know, there was a good amount of time where it wasn't pretty basketball, but the amount of buckets in this game that were like good buckets for a crowd to cheer for. It was like there were certain parts of the game that were very high level shot making. Um, but yeah, Jalen Duren also had a he's a good passer for a big man. He also had a pass at the end of the game, an inbounds pass that ended up kind of giving it away. Um,
It was over before that pass. That was
but
with
still,
point 0.5 seconds left. I don't like.
you don't try to you want to try to get something. Like you don't give up
I'm.
until the,
It was
the
over.
buzzer.
No, meaning
I
like
get it. I get it.
that pass was not as big a deal as you're making it right now. Like that if we're gonna talk about one play, it's not that pass.
Okay.
It's like there were much more significant plays that like that caused Detroit to lose that game or the Detroit to almost win. I would even say that pass was like it was a really hard play. Mitchell Robinson was playing good defense, and like
Right.
it was to do a miracle shot. It wasn't gonna happen. Um, one more thing about this game, I will say is that the while the Pistons fans were great, they never the Pistons never went on a run that got the crowd excited. Like it felt like Tim Hardaway hit a big shot and the crowd would be like, but then there would never be like four shots in a row. Like the Knicks, I think only one time had to call timeout because of like Pistons shot
Excessive.
making.
Right.
And even then, it wasn't like the crowd wasn't going crazy. So I do think that the Pistons did not take advantage of this crowd enough tonight.
Just a small side note so we can move on after this. I am very interested in a smaller storyline kind of way to see long term how Cade Cunningham's shot making and ability to take over a game comes into play in the future because he's a very good player. He really is a very good player. And I mean obviously he was number one pick, but he at times he's a very good passer. He's a very willing passer. He's deferred to other people on the court, and sometimes you just want to like shake him and be like, Cade, dude, you got it. Like you can do this. Like just take us home. And I'm interested to see how the rest of his career kind of plays out in regards to that. That's all.
Yeah, definitely. This is like, what it is like fourth year, third playoffs game. Like he's gonna grow into something else
Yeah, yeah,
for
for sure.
sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, next and last game. We loved this series, but it finally like this was kind of the game everyone was waiting for, which was like it feels like the Clippers are much better than the Nuggets, and now it kind of finally happened. We had the Kawhi and Harden game. And when that happens, it's like, ooh, like they both scored over 20 points. Norman Powell also had 20 points, honestly. The Clippers wouldn't miss. They scored 48% of their shots, 46% of their threes. Just a total domination. Jokic was terrible, 23, 13, and 13, 9 of 14 shooting. I'm
Yeah.
obviously joking. I that like meaning he was like the thing is though he wasn't as good as he normally was. And I'm like, I was just looking at this. I'm like, oh man, like Jokic isn't playing well. And then I look at his stats and I just saw what I just read, and I'm like, how? How is he like so amazing? Even where he was also fit, like 9 of 14. Like, listen, he had a plus minus of -20, so that'll show them. Like 117 to 83 is really bad.
Yeah.
That's a bad loss when you're the higher seed. Um,
Also, I just a interesting note is that I think that if you ever want to show somebody, like if you ever want to give somebody like a quarter of basketball to watch and be like, this will get you into basketball, watch that first quarter again. That first quarter was awesome. The both teams were really going. Um, Norm Powell also picked up play this game, and James Harden was just having one of those games that it made you feel like you were watching him back in Houston. The crowd was loving it. Everything was like he was just making such good basketball players. He was getting those Euro layups down also. Like it was a lot of fun to watch in real time. It was really
yeah, it's
awesome.
actually interesting. It feels like Kawhi and Harden kind of took over this game. Do you know what their shooting percentages were?
No.
I'll read them out to you. James Harden was 6 of 14, and Kawhi was 7 of 17. And Kawhi had 21 points, and Harden had 20. And I'm very surprised when I looked at that because like it
It didn't
felt
feel that
like
way.
it felt like they completely took over the game. But when I'm actually looking at the stats, it's like, oh,
Right.
so it
It's
was kind of you had to be there.
I think we were talking about it 2 days ago, right? Where it feels like the Clippers team like lives and dies on Kawhi's shots in a positive way. Like you also get that this time around where you're watching like the percentages are not there exactly or like whatever. It's not
Mhm.
terrible, but it's not great for him usually. Um, but it just means more. It means more when they're scoring, when they're able to especially him and Harden. But also Zubats has some great defensive. Like they're just a very very complete team. I was listening to the Bill Simmons podcast about this from I think also again 2 nights ago, and they were just talking about how this Clippers team did all the right moves. And again, as you're seeing it play out and you're seeing it in action, it's 100% correct. You got these excellent role players. You have these star players that also know their roles where they're able to be, stars independent of that. And Kawhi really he's got his bounce back. And I really, really am scared. I'm like terrified of everybody putting so much excitement and emphasis into Kawhi right now because I'm so scared to be disappointed again. I really don't want it to happen. I want him to be able to finish out the playoffs healthy and really compete because he's so great. It's so much fun to watch when basketball is like this good, such high level basketball.
He's great. He's really, really, really good at basketball. I hope he doesn't get hurt as well. That was the NBA Daily Recap in 15 minutes or less. I want to thank you, Levi, for co-hosting, for producing. Levi, I have a little joke for you. What do Shador Sanders and the Knicks bench have in common?
No one likes them.
Yeah, kind of. I haven't thought of the punchline. It's more of like they're not showing up. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I feel bad for him. Did I thank you for listening?
I don't think so. That's what I was
I
waiting
want to
for.
thank you for listening.